As at the beginning of every long evidential session, I have some words to say. Those with mobile electronic devices may use them to transmit what they hear in the hearing room, but only 10 minutes after the event that they have described. That is to fit in with the live stream, which has a 10-minute delay. Those devices may not be used for recording proceedings or taking photographs. Thank you.
Mr. Burke-Monerville, welcome back.
Thank you, sir.
Just before we broke for lunch, I was asking you about Trevor's condition after surgery and how much he was able to communicate and whether he said anything to you. And I just want to take you, please, to page 6 of your witness statement. And I just looking just above centre of the page, it says, the first time I spoke to Trevor after the operation was on Friday, the 9th of January. He could say very little, but he did tell me that he'd been assaulted by police officers. Was that your recollection of what Trevor was able to say?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. That can come down. Now, you just told me before the break that Trevor was eventually discharged to the home. Is it right he ended up back in hospital at some stage?
He did, but I cannot remember exactly when.
No.
But he did.
All right. I think you explain in your statement, this is at pages 8 to 9, paragraph 1.19, that he was readmitted, this time to King's College Hospital on the 22nd of January. Readmitted, yes, on the 22nd and discharged after 5 days to the 27th of January, forgive me. But you tell us you can't quite remember why he ended up back in hospital.
No, I haven't seen that.
No, don't worry about it. Can I ask you a little bit of what Trevor was like just after this incident and once he was back at home, all right?
Well, Trevor had this craving for cigarettes,
Yep.
for beer, but mostly cigarettes. He did not be able to talk properly. He wasn't be able to talk properly. He wasn't even interested in going to the loo. All these things I had to teach him to do them again, especially having to nail the windows so he couldn't find a way out of the house. He wasn't happy with me for all these things.
Was he able to take care of himself?
Not at all. Feeding him was like a baby, feeding a baby.
So he had to be helped, toileting,
to do everything.
And helped with food and drink. How was his walking?
He could walk, but on a side, with his head bent on a side.
Were the changes to Trevor temporary changes or permanent changes?
Well, it lasted a while.
Lasted a while.
You see, at times like that, when you are upset looking at someone that you cannot place together why he's like that, and knowing that he's like that and you cannot get the reason why, it builds up anger in you. At that time, I was not happy with myself, nor was I happy with Trevor himself, the way he was behaving.
Yes.
And it took me some time away from my business, plus my own immediate enjoyment of life.
You ran
I had to be in with him every day.
You ran a shop at the time, is that right?
Yes, I did, yeah.
In the local area, in Hackney, Stoke Newington area?
In Hackney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the time Trevor was home, was he able to recall how he got his head injury?
When he began to feel a little bit relaxed, his questions to me was, why did they arrest him? Why did they beat him up? Why did they assault him? And I put that question to one of the doctors, who told me eventually Trevor will remember everything that happened to him. But it never happened.
What do you think happened to Trevor in the early hours of New Year's Day?
I think that's my personal feeling, that Trevor was waiting for my sisters outside. Someone must have approached him, and he was rude to them. He was a very strong boy. And with that, I'm not calling anybody's name. With that, he must have said something out of place, and he was arrested. I do not know who arrested him. I asked for the arresting officer's detail, but nobody gave me anything. Yeah. But that is what I think happened, and he was out of order with them, and anything could have happened. But my conclusion of all that came to a final belief when Trevor asked me previously to that, why did they arrest him? Yeah. You know? So that was when I concluded myself that he must be standing outside. Someone would walk up to him and ask him questions. And knowing Trevor, he did not like to take nonsense from anybody.
See.
And that happened.
Now, I think you explain in your witness statement, if it assists you, paragraph 1.14 at page 6, that you continue to try and find out what had happened to Trevor. And it's right that you instructed solicitors. Is that correct?
I did.
And they assisted you in liaising with the authorities, is that right?
I did, yes.
And you found some things out at that stage, is that right?
Yes, we did.
Now, I think the conclusions you came to was that you didn't really know where he'd been between the early hours of the 1st of January and about 20 to 11 at night. But there was a record that he'd been arrested at 20 to 11 at night, as you told us earlier today, having been found in somebody's car. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. And you explained to us that by the time Trevor was found, the car was covered and that he was unconscious and injured. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
He arrived at Stoke Newington Police Station at about 10 to 11, I think you explain.
Well, I don't know if this time is accurate. You know, I'm not sure about that, because nobody ever opened up to what happened to Trevor that particular evening.
You had access, though, you told us earlier, to the custody record. Do you remember telling us?
Yes, but I truly did not take that as gospel.
Yeah. What you did take from the custody record was that he was recorded as almost continuously sleeping, incapable of being aroused, and refusing food. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah. And that also that he wasn't provided with any legal representation. Do you remember?
Not at all, no.
You also discovered that in the early hours of being in police custody, so the early hours of the next day, the 2nd of January, the police decided to remove and retain Trevor's clothing. Is that right?
Yes,
You also discovered a little bit about Trevor's medical treatment whilst in police custody.
we did.
Seen by police medics, I think 3 different medics, on 5 separate occasions. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
He was unable to eat or provide any personal details due to his condition. Is that right?
That is right, sir.
Whilst in police custody, and we've touched on this a little earlier, he was taken to hospital on 2 occasions. Is that right?
Yes,
On one of those occasions, this was the 2nd of January, he was taken to the accident and emergency department, and the doctor advised he just needed to sleep off whatever it is that was going on with him. Is that right?
yes, sir. Very annoying.
You told us that already, but you found out formally that he'd been charged with criminal damage, I think on the evening of the 2nd of January.
Yeah, that was
So that's a Friday.
finding him in the vehicle, yes.
And that his fingerprints had to be taken by force by the police. Is that right?
Well, the custody record said that 6 of them, 6 police officers had to restrain him so that they could take his fingerprint.
Yes. I think the record you saw showed it involved 4 constables, a detective constable, and an inspector,
Yes,
all involved in this process.
yes.
Trevor having been asleep or unconscious beforehand. Is that right?
Well, that was what I was told.
That's what was recorded. Your investigations found records that there was only a single entry in relation to any injury to Trevor, which was dated the 2nd of January, and said that he had a discolored left eyelid. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah. And then within 2 hours of the fingerprints being taken and Trevor being found fit to be detained, he was again admitted to hospital. We touched on that a little earlier.
Yes, yes, soon after he was forcibly taken fingerprint, he was rushed back to hospital again, yes.
And then later returned back to police custody. And then some hours later saw another police doctor who deemed him fit to be detained. Is that right?
Yes.
And you've told us about what happened next, being taken to court on the Saturday
Yes.
and remanded into custody on the Saturday.
Yes. I do apologize for being forward where all this is concerned.
No,
I was way ahead of you then.
not at all. Not at all. No apology necessary, Mr. Burke-Monerville. This is your evidence. Now, I want to ask you a little bit about what you were told about what happened to Trevor by the police and what you found out about what happened to Trevor whilst he was in police custody, all right? And you told us earlier today that initially when you went to Stoke Newington Police Station, they said he wasn't there. Is that right?
Yes.
And did there come a point when the police accepted that he had been in custody at Stoke Newington Police Station for various periods over the course of the 1st, 2nd, 3rd January before he was taken to court?
They did admit it, and I believe most of this admission came from the custody record again.
Just for your assistance, I'm looking at paragraph 1.18 of your statement at page 8. At one stage, I think you explained that the police told you that Trevor's behaviour and his comatose state was because he must have been using drink and drugs. Is that right?
They did mention that, but I did not take that serious.
You also explained that it was insinuated to you that he must have had some sort of pre-existing brain condition or brain tumour.
That was a lie.
Is that what was insinuated to you?
Yes.
Can you remember what was said to you? I appreciate it's a long time ago.
I was asked if Trevor had any sickness at all.
Right.
Did he fall? Did he get hit on the head? All this was make-up stories. There was absolutely nothing wrong with Trevor. He was out for the night enjoying himself with his aunties.
And I think you've just touched on it, but you explain in your witness statement that another suggestion that was made to you is that Trevor must have had some sort of fall or accident at some point before New Year's Eve. Is that right?
That is quite right, and what I thought of that, what a big lie.
What did the inconsistency in what you were being told about what happened to Trevor, what did that make you think?
It made me believe that Trevor had encounter with the police at the time, and they were lying about everything to us.
And why did you think that they might have been lying to you?
Well, the thing is that that particular station has been a very notorious place for a long time.
Yes.
There was always rumors going on about them. And I, as a father, did not believe them at all. You know, and my suspicion was that something was wrong and I wasn't being told the truth.
I see. And when you say you thought something was wrong, what did you think had gone on that was wrong?
I mentioned previously that Trevor was a no-nonsense person.
Yes.
And as I will try and repeat again, that he must have come across someone that he disapproved of, or he did not like what was being said to him, or Trevor, as I know, was a straight talking, no-nonsense young man. And if something he does not approve of, he will speak his mind.
And when you say you think Trevor, my words, not yours, and forgive me if I'm misunderstanding, but when you say you think Trevor may have had a disagreement with someone, are you talking about an ordinary member of the public, or are you talking about somebody within the police?
Someone mentioned some time ago, after when we went wrong, asking questions, young man on a bicycle said that he saw Trevor talking to the old Bill, or a name was mentioned. It's not a very good name.
Right. Name of a police officer?
That was the name the person called the police.
I see. All right. So a derogatory term for a police
Yes.
officer. I see what you're getting at.
And that was when our belief that he was arrested by them or something went wrong intensified.
I see. And I think as a result of what happened to Trevor, legal action was taken on his behalf. Is that right?
That is quite true.
An action was taken against the City and Hackney Area Health Authority. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
The Metropolitan Police. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And the Home Office.
Yes, sir.
I just want to ask you now about Trevor's treatment by the local police in the Stoke Newington and Hackney area after all this had happened, all right? And if it assists you, I'm at paragraph 1.21, page 9 of your witness statement. And as I've said to you before, Mr. Burke-Monerville, this is your evidence. I'm going to do my best to summarise. We've got all the detail in your witness statement, but if any important detail is left out, please assist me, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think you explained that Trevor was the subject of continuous stops by the police. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
He was also arrested some 5 times in a period of about 23 months. Is that correct?
It's quite true.
All of these arrests occurring after his discharge from hospital in the early part of 1987 through to the end of 1988. Is that right? Over that sort of period?
Yeah, Trevor was still suffering the after effect of surgery that he had.
Yes.
And at that time, he still had the craving for drinks and cigarettes. And he had begun to get what we call epileptic fits.
I see.
The first time that happened, I was very shocked. Because that was not mentioned to us when they explained about he will remember what happened to him.
Yeah.
And you couldn't keep Trevor in then because he was quite capable of going out then.
Yes.
So he was out here, there, and everywhere possible. And he used to constantly get stopped by police.
And I just want to examine with you some of these occasions, all right? Because I think you explained that in November 1987 he was arrested and charged with some 11 offences. Is that correct?
Very true.
And all of those offences were either not pursued or dismissed at court, or he was the subject of not guilty verdicts at court. Is that right?
Well, we got used to it. You know, it used to happen so often that we had this thing saying that, don't worry, come back home. Because it got so familiar then.
You also explained that in April 1988 he was detained for allegedly breaching bail conditions.
That's true.
That wasn't proceeded with, and he was the subject of an apology from the police for wrongful arrest. Is that right?
That was true, yes.
In September 1988, he was arrested and charged with unlawful wounding and committing grievous bodily harm, charges that were ultimately dismissed. Is that right?
True. That was himself, his brother, and a friend.
I see.
And at Snaresbrook Crown Court, I believe.
I see.
And all the charges was, they were found not guilty. The charges was dropped. Yeah.
In September 1988, you describe a further arrest with the charges against Trevor being dropped the following day.
Yes.
Remember that?
It was constant harassment.
Yep.
May I say something?
Yes, absolutely.
I don't know if you've got to this yet, but I do not want to forget it.
Yes.
It is hard to believe that police would arrest Trevor, keep him in the cell for a while, give him drinks, and charge him with driving while drunk.
Yeah.
You know, these sort of things was very painful, because the boy at this time after his operation, he wasn't functioning properly then.
Is there any reason that you think Trevor was treated in this way?
I believe the prognosis of the doctor, they were frightened of it. Because the doctor couldn't give a time when, but they were sure that Trevor will get his whole memory back. And he will be able to say everything that happened to him.
And is there any reason that you think Trevor, following his injury, was the subject of a lot of attention from the police?
Well, whoever it is that caused Trevor's injuries was pretty worried.
I think you say in your witness statement that you thought racism was at play. You were concerned or you thought the police may be concerned that Trevor may make an accusation of assault against them, and concerned that he may regain his memory? Do you remember having those beliefs?
Yes, that's what I meant by what I just said
Yeah.
to you. And they used to call him a lot of dirty names.
They used to call him a lot of dirty names, did you say?
At that particular time, he started to be able to answer back.
Yeah.
You know.
In terms of his physical condition, what was Trevor like whilst all of this trouble with the police was going on?
He wasn't happy that he was having this type of treatment. Plus, he was used to his epilepsy got slightly worse then.
And what?
It
Sorry, I
happened
interrupted.
to him more frequently. So we were very worried about the treatment that was being given to him.
And as a result of what was going on, forgive me, whilst all of this was going on, how was Trevor's personality? How was his behaviour?
His behavior was worrying to us. We were very worried and concerned about the things that was happening to him.
What worried you, Mr. Burke-Monerville?
Well, all this trouble that Trevor was going through with the police picking him up, and they used to supply him with things that will get him intoxicated.
I see.
And he wouldn't stop driving. That was one thing. I cannot hide it, you know. He wouldn't stop driving. He's always driving around. He eventually bought himself a vehicle,
Right.
you know.
As a result of what was happening to Trevor, I think you took the decision that he might be better off living somewhere else, at least for the short term. Is that right?
It used to take so much of my time
Yeah.
running around because of Trevor. So I had to put together and send him away.
Yeah.
Send him back home. At the time, he knew no one there, absolutely no one. He was born here. But I had to let them know that I was sending him home for relief from the problem that he's getting here. And I sent him home. I cannot remember exactly how long he spent there, but that was his happiest time.
And by home, do you mean St. Lucia?
Yes.
And was that around back end of 1989, beginning of 1990? Was it around that time, I think?
89, could be, was it 88?
It's been a long time.
It doesn't matter, Mr. Burke-Monerville, but
Yeah, but he spent a little while down there.
yeah. And does it follow from what you've just said? There came a time when Trevor came back home to London.
Yeah, he enjoyed himself so much that he exhausted the people.
Right.
So they decided he must come back home. He was all right then.
Yeah.
And as soon as he got back here, it all started again. Not as frequently as before,
Yes.
but it resumed itself just as ugly as before.
I want to ask you now about the campaign that was set up in an effort to secure justice for Trevor, all right?
Yep.
And it's right that this was set up pretty quickly, or incepted pretty quickly, in around January 1987, so when Trevor first got hurt. Is that correct?
Yes, we did set up a campaign, yes.
And the campaign went through various names, but I think it eventually became known as the Trevor-Monerville Defence Campaign. Is that right?
That's right, sir.
And you ran this campaign, or the family ran this campaign, alongside the legal action that you'd taken on Trevor's behalf. Is that right?
Yeah, we did. We had one group that approached us before,
Yes.
and then we found out that it was not a suitable group because they were very, very one-minded activists. And then we had to switch to someone else who came forward to help. And that was proper, yeah.
Can you remember which was the group that you rejected? Can you remember the name of that group?
They were called Workers Against Racism.
All right.
And their motto was war.
Yes.
Yeah.
And can you remember which group or the name of the group you thought you could work alongside?
The next one of those.
Yes.
HCDA and then the Burke-Monerville campaign.
Did you say HCDA?
Yeah.
So Hackney Community Defence Association.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I think by this time as well, a complaint against the police had been made as a result of Trevor's
Yes, we did.
situation. Yeah. Now, you very helpfully set out what the aims of the campaign were in your witness statement. This is at pages 11 to 12, at paragraph 1.26. And is it right that you wanted to learn the truth about what happened to Trevor?
That was our intention.
That you wanted to find out how he got his injuries?
Yes.
You wanted to find out why he didn't receive proper medical assistance, is that right?
Yes.
You wanted to find out why he got no legal assistance whilst in custody?
Yes.
And you wanted to get to the bottom as to whether the police were covering anything up about Trevor's time in their custody, is that right?
Yes, and that was one thing we were quite sure about.
There was also a wider aim, and that was to expose racist policing in Stoke Newington and Hackney, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And to provide support to other campaigns relating to black youths who have been either hurt or killed whilst in police custody, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And it's right that two of your sisters in particular, your sister Annette and your sister Cassie, were significantly involved in the campaign. Is that correct?
Yes, even more than myself, you know, because I had a business to run, and they, as family, was helping more than I was helping at the time.
Now, it's right, Mr. Burke-Monerville, that you've quite recently lost your sister Annette. Is that correct?
I did, yes.
All right. Well, on behalf of the inquiry, you have our condolences. That there may be some occasions over the course of the next hour or so we may have to touch on what Annette was doing. All right.
Thank you very much, sir. That is very refreshing.
Now, I think you explain in your witness statement that not long after the campaign was set up, it was assisted by somebody called Dr. Graham Smith, who was a prominent civil rights activist in your area. Is that correct?
Well, I wouldn't say he was a civil activist.
All right. Well, how would you describe
He was a
him?
very nice person
I see. All right.
who wanted to help those who are suffering.
Thank you. And I'm just going to, there's lots of detail about this in your witness statement, but I just want to get a flavour of the sort of wider support that or wider interest that the campaign attracted, all right?
Yeah.
I think you had interest from a Member of Parliament for Hackney South and Shoreditch, Brian Sedgemore, is that right?
Nice chap.
And Mr. Sedgemore wrote on your behalf to the Metropolitan Police Service, then Commissioner Sir Kenneth Newman, and to the Home Secretary of the time, who I think was Douglas Hurd. Is that right?
Yes, yes. I had a very strange letter from him.
A strange letter
From Douglas Hurd.
from Douglas Hurd.
paying me condolences for Trevor's death
I see.
while Trevor was still alive.
So he misunderstood what had happened to Trevor.
Yes.
Did you ever bring that to anyone's attention at the time?
Well, we all knew, but like everything else that was at the back of my vehicle, I let it disappear with what I had at the back of the vehicle. And it wasn't just myself. My sister's note disappeared and all.
I think Mr. Sedgemore also addressed a large public meeting regarding the issue at Hackney Town Hall in February 1987. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
You were also assisted by somebody called Tommy Shepherd, who was the elected member of Hackney London Borough Council. Is that right?
Very true.
And Mr. Shepherd, I think, was chair of the council of the police committee at the time. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you explain in your witness statement that Mr. Shepherd spoke to the press and publicly questioned the behaviour and accountability of the local police. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Diane Abbott, Paul Boateng, Bernie Grant all lent their support to the campaign. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And Ken Livingstone raised the question in Parliament in April 1988 regarding a possible inquiry as to what had occurred to Trevor. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, I want to ask you a little bit about the activities of the campaign, and you set these out in your witness statement at paragraph 1.27, page 12. I'm just going to summarise them. Again, please add any detail if I'm missing anything. The campaign made a number of public appeals in an effort to try and get to the truth of what happened to Trevor on the 1st of January 1987. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
You wanted to know what happened to him before he was in police custody, and you wanted to know what happened to him after he'd ended up in police custody. Is that right?
We all did. Family did, I did. Everyone who was concerned about Trevor wanted to know. We try and put our mind at ease, but we were only told lies.
And I think one particular group of people that you were interested in hearing from was anybody else who might have been in custody at Stoke Newington Police Station at around the same time that Trevor was, in case they had any information that may assist you. Is that right?
Yeah, we made that pretty public to find out, and someone did mention that up to now I do not know who it was.
Yes.
But someone did come forward and mention that he saw Trevor in police custody on the night that we were asking where he is.
Yes.
Or what had happened to him, and he was perfectly okay.
And whilst you're on the subject, you found out eventually, didn't you, that the whole time you were asking at Stoke Newington Police Station where Trevor was, he was either in their custody or had been taken by them to hospital. Is that right?
Well, he was in their custody,
Yeah.
and then everything else followed.
And so does it follow you were sat in Stoke Newington Police Station, as you told us earlier, filling out a missing persons form, whilst he may well have been in the same building?
He was in the building
Yeah.
at that time.
The campaign organised demonstrations outside local police stations, is that right?
Yes, Hackney Police Station, Dalston Police Station, and Stoke Newington.
Were they peaceful demonstrations?
Always had been.
Did the campaign go to any lengths to make sure that there were peaceful demonstrations?
We did. No one can ever say that we caused any disturbance at all.
And what sort of things would you do to ensure that there was no trouble?
We had members of family, friends, and relatives making sure there was any trouble. The only thing we were disturbed about, because every time we were demonstrating somewhere, we could look up and see the cameras recording us.
I see. Did the campaign, Mr. Burke-Monerville, ever promote disorderly or violent protest?
No, sir. Not that I ever know about.
Did it ever involve itself in disorderly or violent protest?
Well, we were always afraid of that, so we make sure that it didn't happen, because we realized that if anything like this happened, it would give the police an authority or an excuse to behave badly with us because of what they had in mind for us.
Another activity that the campaign involved itself in was a poster campaign, is that right?
Yes.
And I think you've provided some examples. I'm just going to look at a couple of those with you now. Could we please have up UCPI 37096, which is at A2 of the hard copy bundle. 37096. Thank you. Mr. Burke-Monerville, do you recognise that as one of the documents that you've provided to the inquiry?
Yes, I do.
And that's a leaflet that outlines what happened to Trevor and gives that chronology of arrests that you gave evidence about a little earlier today. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
We can see you're quoted at the bottom there as saying, "My son was naked and unconscious. Even the soles of his feet had been beaten." Did you see that quote from you?
Yes, sir.
And where was Trevor when you saw him naked and unconscious? Can you remember?
Prison hospital cell.
When he was in the prison hospital wing? All right. I just want to look at another example, please, and this is UCPI 37099. That is 37099. And this is a leaflet seeking support, I think, to help Trevor go to St. Lucia. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And we can see a pretty graphic photograph there of Trevor. But where was that taken?
We did break the law there because we sneaked into the hospital with a camera and took that picture.
I see. Well, I'm not sure it is a criminal offence to take photographs.
Well, they said
of
no
hospital.
pictures.
I see. All right. Well, you may have broken the rules, but I'm not sure you've broken the law, Mr. Burke-Monerville, so I wouldn't lose any
I've
sleep.
always
over
been
it.
conscious of the law.
Thank you. So that was taken before or after his surgery? Can you remember?
After his surgery.
So at the Maudsley?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. That can come down, please.
All these years I thought that we broke the law.
Now, you told us a moment ago that the police, you found out that the Trevor had been in Stoke Newington Police Station or in the custody of Stoke Newington Police all the time, and you thought he might be elsewhere. Did the police eventually accept that they failed to inform you that Trevor was in their custody? or wasn't in their custody, forgive me, when in fact he was?
Well, the gentleman, the officer that was in charge of the station at the time, did give a public apology. He apologized for not telling us, well, telling me and the rest of my family and the crowd that was supporting us at the time, that Trevor was in their custody. So he's sorry for not letting us know.
Did the police ever provide a satisfactory explanation as to how Trevor sustained his injuries?
No, sir. But they did say it was a fall.
They said it was a fall.
He fall down. They would never tell us the truth. We never expected the truth from them neither.
Now, you explain in your witness statement that, and I think I'm looking at paragraph 1.34 at page 15 here, you explain that it was suggested by a Chief Superintendent John Peck of Stoke Newington Police Station that the campaign, the Trevor Monerville defence campaign, was being manipulated by political agitators. Do you remember that statement being made?
Yes?
Yeah. And I think you go on to explain in your witness statement that that was one of a number of public comments made by the police along the same lines, that the campaign was, or that other political groups were trying to hijack or use the campaign. Do you remember that?
I do.
Was your campaign ever influenced by other political groups, or political groups, I should say?
Well, I recalled when the incident first happened,
Yes.
short while afterwards, there was a gentleman who walked into my shop and asked me if what he's heard is correct. I said yes. He told me that he was very dissatisfied with his people, that such a thing is happening in our community and he did not know about it. And he began to do something in response to find out what happened to Trevor.
I see.
And that was the gentleman from the group called War.
I see.
I later learned that his name was not the name that he gave to me.
I see.
And as soon as we found out what he was all about, we got rid of him.
Did the campaign ever allow itself to be controlled or influenced or guided or directed by any outside group?
That never happened. That never happened at all.
Why do you think the police were suggesting that that was something that did happen?
I think the name of the gentleman aroused them, but that didn't happen. His reputation must have aroused them, because we didn't know who he was at the time. But that never happened at all. We did not give him the opportunity to misbehave at all.
Yeah.
And I don't think he ever did neither.
Now, you explain in your witness statement that the Trevor Monerville defence campaign did in fact receive support from other groups.
Yes.
For example, the Revolutionary Communist Party. Do you remember that group?
Yes. Yes.
Newham Monitoring Project.
Yes.
Hackney Community Defence Association, who I think you've already mentioned.
Yes.
What was the nature of the interaction between your campaign and those groups that were lending support or showing an interest in what you were doing?
Well, I suppose they wanted to try and manipulate us. But it's only one of those groups after the initial war I tried to do that, and they had to take a walk and all.
I see. And now, I think it's right, and you explain in your witness statement at paragraph 1.44, which is at page 19, that
19 or 19?
page 19, please, yes. I think it's right that the Hackney Community Defence Association eventually, with your consent, I think, took over running the Trevor-Monerville defence campaign sometime in 1988. Is that right?
That did happen.
Yeah.
Then my sister Annette became involved with the young man who was guiding us then.
I see.
When I say involved, she began to get more interest in the campaign.
I see. Whilst the Trevor-Monerville defence campaign was ongoing, whilst it was active, how was your family treated by the police?
That's a very sore part, sir.
Yes.
Because my family was treated very badly, predominantly my mother and father.
Something happened to your mother and father, didn't it?
Yes,
Tell us what happened.
I believe it had to do with a driving incident. They said it was a driving incident that my father was involved in at Clapton Pond. My father got home. There was nothing wrong. He went to bed. And later that day, police arrived at the door. They said they come to arrest him for drink driving.
Yeah.
My mother refused because my father had done anything. He had no recollection of it. And up to this day, I cannot remember anything happening about it. But they decided to arrest him. My mother objected, as most of our loved ones do. I don't want to mention any. She did object, and she asked to let him have his tablets before they take him away.
Yeah.
She went inside to bring the tablets and water. And a police officer accused her of assaulting her. And my mother was treated very badly.
Was your mother arrested?
Yes,
Was she charged with any offence?
not at all.
No. And your recollection was that nothing came of the accusations that were being made against your father, is that right?
Very true, sir.
Right. And how old were your parents when this happened?
At that time, my father was 73.
Yes.
My mother was maybe about 67. Yeah, about 67.
All right. If it assists you, I'm looking at paragraph
No, my
1.
mother was, sorry, sir, my father was 79,
Yes.
and my mother was 73.
Thank you, Mr. Burke-Monerville.
Yeah. I am not very clever with date of birth and age and all that.
Not to worry.
I'm just happy about I'm still around at my old age.
Now, I think there came a time, Mr. Burke-Monerville, when the campaign was wound down. Is that right?
It did, because it lost momentum when Trevor was away.
Yeah.
And then when he did come back and all the things that start happening to him again, it was some decision was made at some time not to carry on. And the person who was running the campaign with my sister at that time was finding himself, the attention of the police was too much for him and all.
I see.
So he was beaten up at a certain time.
And don't worry too much if you can't remember, but can you recollect roughly when the campaign was wound down, what year this happened?
It slowly ran down. I do not remember. There again, you got me at a year and
Don't worry.
so on.
Now, Trevor was, as we touched on at the beginning of your evidence, Trevor was killed on the 18th of March 1994, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Before he passed away, did Trevor ever regain his memory of what happened to him on New Year's Day 1987?
It's hard to understand that, but Trevor, I wouldn't say he had regained his memory. But there are one or two things Trevor used to say that make us believe at the time that something will come of it, but it never happened.
What did he say?
He would ask what happened to him on that night, and if you say that and this, he would say, no, it wasn't this. He's sure something else happened to him.
I see.
You know.
Following Trevor's death, was there any change in the relationship between your family and the police?
Well, we didn't get much attention from them
I see.
because I believe that what they were worrying about was gone. And they did nothing to find out what happened to him. That I can say openly because they did nothing at all.
For your assistance, Mr. Burke-Monerville, I'm at page 21 of your witness statement, paragraphs 1.49 and 1.50, where you explained that an inquest into Trevor's death was opened and that the inquest was concluded on the 13th of March 1996.
Yes,
You explain that your family wasn't notified by the police of the date of the inquest. Is that right?
that is quite true. I found that quite bizarre, really.
And
Well, they knew where I was.
yeah,
They knew everything about the family. And I recall a program called No Hiding Place. It's quite some time ago. I was a young man then. And the police always got their man, no matter how far he hid. You know?
because no contact was made with you, did you explain that you didn't attend the inquest? Is that right?
I did not know about it. They never notified us about it.
Did anyone from your family attend?
No.
No.
We did not know at all. But they said they couldn't find me.
Had you moved home at any point?
Well, they found me when Trevor was killed, you know. But when they had the inquest,
Yes.
they said they couldn't find me.
Were you still at the same address between?
Well, I was in London,
Yeah.
and I was with my family. I had just parted from my first wife.
Yes.
And my mother knew where I was, my
Yes.
father, my family, everyone knew where I was, right here in England.
And did you still have your shop?
Yes.
Was that still in the same location?
Yeah. Yes.
Just want to look at a an intelligence report now with you, Mr. Burke-Monerville, and it's a document we may revisit a little later. The number is MPS 0245928 Web. So that's 0245928 Web, and it's at D1 of the hard copy bundle.
I have not found that.
All right, it'll come up on the screen in due course, all right? Hopefully we can enlarge it.
MPS. I'm still pressing for further review.
If you look at the screen in front of you, Mr. Burke-Monerville, it should come up at some point, all right?
I am looking. Sir.
Thank you. I haven't got it either, if that assures you. All right. Do you see a document in front of you now?
Yes, I got it now.
Thank you. Now we'll look at the detail of this intelligence report a little later, but we can see that the report itself is dated the 13th of February 1996, so that's the bottom left corner of the document. Do you see that?
Yes.
And at the
Edmondson, DCI.
yes, so that's the name of the Detective Chief Inspector who signed off on the report. And if we look at the very top, where it says date and time, we can see the date and time.
Saturday the 16th.
Saturday the 16th of March 1996,
Yes, I can see that.
which is 3 days after the inquest was heard on the 13th of March.
Yes.
And that this report concerned the Colin Roach Centre, which was associated or what the HCDA, I think, turned into eventually. And the report deals with a march and rally in memory of Trevor. Do you see that under the heading Nature of Event?
Yes.
And so it seems from this report that in February 1996, the police were interested or monitoring events that were related to Trevor,
Yes.
and that they were reporting on an event that was going to occur some 3 days after the inquest was due. Do you see that?
I can.
Yeah.
This event will mark the death of Trevor Black.
How did it make you feel to learn that the police, in around February, March 1996, still had an eye on what your family was doing to commemorate Trevor, yet failed to notify your family that an inquest was going to take place in relation to his murder?
Well, I did not expect anything much more than that from them, because the things that they do and the things that they inflict on people, on my family and myself and friends and relations, I did not enjoy it at all.
Yeah.
That was 2 years after Trevor's death, 2 years plus, and they were still hounding us. It was not enjoyable, sir.
I'd like to look, forgive me, I interrupted you.
Well, it's left a very, very, very disturbing feelings in the mind.
How did you find out that the inquest had occurred without you knowing about it?
That particular thing that about the inquest, I was told, I do not remember exactly when, but it was an encounter with police. Or was it someone to do with my legal people that told me? I did not know.
Just going to look at the look at some information you received about the explanation for you not being informed. All right. Can we look, please, at UCPI 37377?
3737.
Don't worry, Mr. Burke-Monerville, it will come up on the screen. All right.
Okay.
So UCPI 37377. And can we look at page 4, please? Now, Mr. Burke-Monerville, this is a document that you've provided to the inquiry that's authored by a Detective Superintendent Pete Wallace. Can you see that name at the bottom of left corner
Yes, I
of
can see
the
it.
document? It's dated the 27th of October 2021. So this is some many years after the
Death.
Trevor's death and the conclusion of the inquest. And I think this document relates to a series of questions that were posed to the police on your behalf, or requests for information posed to the police on your behalf in relation to Trevor.
You know what, sir? It made me feel quite bad. Because I was talking at lunchtime with my legal people about that, letting them know that when you are done with me and things have quietened down a bit, that I have to go and rest my head for 3 reasons. My son Trevor, my son Joseph,
Yes.
and my son David. I have not left this country for the last 14 years, and yet they couldn't find me.
Just
The
wanted,
last time I
forgive
was
me.
there was 2010.
I just want to look at one of the questions posed in this document. Right at the bottom it says, 17, an inquest into Trevor's death concluded on the 13th of March 1996. The family were not informed that the inquest was taking place. They've asked if you're able to provide any information about why they were not informed. And the answer says the original FLO, so Family Liaison Officer, was apparently unable to contact Trevor's father prior to the inquest. Do you see that answer?
Yes, I was still in this country then.
Still in the country, still in Hackney.
Yes.
Shop was still in the same place.
I don't believe I had the shop
Aye, all right.
at that time, but I still lived in Hackney.
And your family's activity
Had
in
not
relation to
changed.
Trevor, still on the police radar, as we've seen in that intelligence report. All right.
It had not changed. Where did we live then? We lived just off Best Street then.
Now, you explain in your witness statement that there had been prepared a closing investigation report in relation to Trevor's murder, dated the 2nd of March 1995. Do you remember mentioning that in your witness statement?
Yes, I must have.
Yes, page 22, if it helps you, paragraph 1.51.
Page 22.
Did you ever get to see that investigation report?
To confirm the application. No, I never got to see that, sir.
Did the report, I'm just looking at your witness statement, Mr. Burke-Monerville, did it eventually was it eventually made available to you around September of 2023?
I believe that was when I first found out about it, yes.
I see, all right.
Mind you, I cannot be 100% sure,
I understand.
but it was very recently, not too long ago, that I was shown that particular bit of paper. I don't even remember if it's this was the original one I was showed.
Yeah.
That I saw on that thing, because I got very upset about that.
Yeah. I just want to return back to the document that we were looking at. So UCPI 37377, don't worry, it'll come up on the screen for you. 37377, back to page 4, please. Just want to look at some of the other questions and answers on that document. Starting at the top at 13, it was asked, do you have any records relating to contact with the family during the initial investigation and any decisions made about that contact?
Not at all, sir.
The answer was a review of the case file reveals no family liaison officer log present. There is a commentary by this SIO, I assume that's senior investigating officer, that an FLO was deployed, but contact was lost with Trevor's father pre-inquest. Do you see that?
Yes, I see it, but I don't recall these people ever come looking for me.
No. And we can see, in answer to the next question, 14, confirmation that the report we've just been talking about was dated March 1995.
Yes.
And I just want to look at now question 16. The family were never given Trevor's clothes, keys or jewellery. Do you still hold these items? Can they be returned to the family? Answer in October 2021, many years after Trevor's killing. The location of the personal items is being researched. Do you see that answer?
Yes.
Did you ever get Trevor's things back?
The only thing we ever got from Trevor was at the initial investigation. I believe a policeman went to a pawn shop in Mare Street.
Yeah.
And came back and let us know that there was something in the pawn shop that was pawned by Trevor.
I see.
And I went looking for it some days later, paid and collected. But all of Trevor's jewelry that he always wear, including his clothes, phone, jacket, never got any of it back. But the only thing we got back was the things in the pawn shop, and it took quite a while to get it back, the declarations that this and that and the other,
Yeah.
but I did eventually get it back.
How do you feel that it took something like 28 years for you to learn of the report into Trevor's murder?
I couldn't answer that, sir, because the anger that brought it on, it would take army language to discuss that.
All right.
Yes.
I want to look now at some of the intelligence reporting with you, all right? And at the time that the Trevor-Monerville defence campaign was active, did you ever suspect that police officers were paying attention to your family or attending activities of the campaign?
Would you repeat that, please?
Yes, of course. Whilst the campaign was ongoing,
Yeah.
did you ever think that the police may have been attending its activities or paying attention to the campaign?
We always believed that, but we had no proof.
I think you give an example in your witness statement at paragraph 2.2, page 22-23, of two plainclothes officers attending a campaign meeting at the family home. Do you remember?
Oh, yes.
Do you remember that?
Planted in my mind, yeah. That was with my home that I had with my first wife, soon after Trevor was killed.
And
No, was it soon after? Let's think. No, that was the assault. I'm sorry.
I see. So after
That
the
was
assault,
The assault, yeah.
or after the injury. All right.
Yeah.
And as a result of police interest in the campaign, did the campaign take any precautions?
Not really. I don't think we ever did. It was when something was stolen from the back of my car, and a little while later my sister lost her papers and all.
Yeah.
Then the chap who was running the campaign with my sister, I think he ran into trouble and all.
Yeah.
So I believe they planted a white rat. Well, a lot of things went on. It was then we all became noticeable of what's happening.
Can
But
you
we
remember?
took it as nothing.
Can you remember what was stolen from your car?
Papers of the campaign.
Papers in relation to the campaign.
Yeah, because my sister used to give me report every day and every time that there was something to report. And most of the time she used to give me a copy of whatever it is.
I see. And can you remember whether at the time of the theft you had anything of value in the car?
My home was burgled then.
Right.
In Victoria Park Road I lived then.
Yes.
And all our hi-fi was taken. Bits and pieces was taken. I can't remember, letters and things like that. But we had a burglary. I came home one day, I couldn't open the front door.
I see.
And when I did check and things, I thought Trevor was in, because he lived with me then. I couldn't get in. Then when I checked the basement, it was open.
Were these thefts that you've told us about reported to the police?
What for, sir?
All right.
I suspected that the only person that could get to the back of the vehicle, I had a brand new Lancia that I bought on
Yeah.
Never Never for my business. So I did not expect anybody else but these chaps to be able to open the boot. You know?
I'd like to take you to a document, please, Mr. Burke-Monerville, and this is MPS 0740393. 0740393. It's at B1 of the hard copy bundle.
A24, yeah.
It will appear on your screen, Mr. Burke-Monerville.
Yeah, I
right?
can see that. March 1987. Yeah, I see that. Oops, it's gone.
Here we go. All right. And can we go to page 2, please? Now, this is an intelligence report attributed to a special demonstration squad officer known to the inquiry as HN95, real name Stefan Skutt, cover name Stefan Wazalowski, who was an officer who infiltrated the Socialist Workers' Party in Hackney South between 1985 and 1988. And I just want to read what it says and then ask you a few questions about it, all right? This report says this: Honey Rosenberg, a leading member of the Hackney North branch of the Socialist Workers' Party, has been appointed to the organising committee of the Trevor Monerville campaign, currently gathering momentum in the Stoke Newington area of London. Despite this move, which resulted from her previous contact with other committee members, the Socialist Workers' Party has little influence over the policy or direction of the campaign. Indeed, Rosenberg has already become somewhat isolated on the committee by virtue of her colour in politics. The parents of Trevor Monerville are understandably still extremely distressed, but are adamant that the campaign should not go the way of previous similar campaigns, such as that of Colin Roach. Their primary objective is that truth and justice should be ascertained by way of the relevant legal processes. They will seek public support only in pursuing their objective, for example, an independent inquiry. There is, however, considerable pressure from various political and community groups to link the tragedy with the recent death of a black youth in Wolverhampton and to incorporate the events into a more general and fundamental campaign against police oppression, violence and racism. It is likely that such pressure will eventually win the day, primarily because the organising committee and stewards will be unable to exercise control over pickets and demonstrations, which are likely to be well intended by extreme left-wing groups and other individuals intent upon exerting their will on the proceedings. The Socialist Workers' Party predictably does not aspire to the set objectives of the campaign, but rather views it as an important focal point of local attention and as such an obvious area for recruitment and contact. Accordingly, they will continue to support any event held in support of the campaign and will organise their own street and public meetings centred on their perception of the issue. And if we go over the page, we can see mention of the campaign, Trevor Monerville campaign, with the reference mentions against it. Do you see that?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Burke-Monerville, how do you feel about an undercover officer reporting back to Special Branch about your distress and Trevor's mother's distress at what happened to your son?
Well, at the time when we initially knew that they were spying on us, they denied it. It was just a few words. Because on that day when they came and said that those were the only entries about Trevor Monerville.
We'll get to that in due course, all right?
Yeah.
But how do you feel about the fact
I
that
feel
here
very,
we see an officer
very disturbed about
talking about your grief, very disturbed?
Yes, very, very disturbed. What reasons did they have for that?
Was that report correct in its assertion that there was pressure from other groups to link what happened to Trevor to the death of another black youth in Wolverhampton and to try and pursue a more general campaign? Was there any truth or accuracy in that?
Not from us. If anyone took that upon themselves to carry on with, we knew nothing about it. I personally didn't know absolutely nothing about it. And I've never been to Wolverhampton in any demonstration or everything. So if Trevor's name was mentioned at that campaign or whatever that they were aiming for,
Yep.
we didn't give them permission to do such a thing.
Did you ever experience any incident of the Socialist Workers' Party trying to recruit members, new members from your campaign to its organisation? Did you ever experience that?
I don't think so. I personally did not experience that.
Can we now look at UCPI 28580? This is at B2 of the hard copy bundle. Thank you. Now, Mr. Burke-Monerville, this is an intelligence report dated the 9th of September 1988. It's attributed to an SDS undercover officer known to the Inquirer as HN10, real name Robert Lambert, cover name Bob Robertson, and that individual was an anarchist deployed into anarchist and animal rights groups between 1984 and 1989. And it's a report that deals with the Hackney Community Defence Association, a group you told us about a little earlier. And I just want to have a look at what this report says. It says at paragraph 2 this, using the pen name Helen Purchase and the recently formed front organisation Hackney Community Defence Association, local anarchist Norman Blair has written to the Hackney Gazette criticising local police officer Superintendent Dave Dugmore. This follows a recent publicity surrounding the acquittal of Trevor Monerville. Now, Mr. Burke-Monerville, the inquiry has obtained a witness statement from the officer Robert Lambert. And in his witness statement, he says he can't assist as to any basis on which the Hackney Community Defence Association was described in this document as a front organisation or a front association. Front organisation, I think, is the terminology. Do you have any idea what the author of this report might have meant when they referred to the HCDA as being some sort of front organisation?
No, sir.
What sort of organisation did you understand the HCDA to be?
The sole purpose of that organization, when we first met up with the people that was running it, one particular man that we knew, was to help us find out what happened to Trevor. And that was the only thing, nothing else.
Do you know what the author of the report meant when they referred to recent publicity surrounding the acquittal of Trevor Monerville? Bearing in mind this report's dated the 9th of September 1988. Do you have any idea what the author of the report is talking about?
No, sir.
How does it make you feel to see that an undercover officer was providing intelligence related to the acquittal of your son?
On that particular time, I am not sure what to make of it. I cannot remember that particular date, nor do I know the intention of the author of that report. It's of no significant interest to myself because I knew nothing about it.
Now, I think you make clear in your witness statement that you have seen the part of Robert Lambert's witness statement that relates to this report, where he says that he has no recollection of anything to do with Trevor or anything to do with the campaign. How did it make you feel to read that?
He's the greatest liar I've ever heard speak. You know, because I don't know about him, and I heard him say it, because he was asked about what does he know about Trevor Monerville, and he said he'd never heard of him. I think that was what was said. I didn't take it as something of interest. You know, it makes you feel very sad to hear these things, that people will do these things and then lie about it. Because I was told by someone when we were here that we should get the lawyer to ask him, what does he know about Trevor Monerville? And he said nothing.
Sir, is that a convenient moment?
Certainly. We normally...
I would... Oh,
Just
sorry.
no, do finish your sentence, please.
I would like to hear more of this, please, when we return.
Yes.
Because I would I did not take it of any interest when I first heard it, but now that I've seen this, I did read about that, but from my papers that was provided to me, I think I did, but I did not fully understand it. If you could make me understand that afterwards, I'd be very grateful.
All right. Well, I'll speak to your legal representatives during
Thank
the break.
you.
All right. All right.
Then we'll adjourn for 15 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Imagine.
Thank you. Mr. Burke-Monerville, before we start again proper, I'm reminded and I'm grateful just to cover again the sequence of events that happened when following Trevor having surgery. And I think it's right that after he had his operation at the Maudsley, he stayed at the Maudsley for a while, then was transferred to King's College Hospital, and then went home. Is that the right sequence of events?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I'm sorry about, it's not everything I
Not at all. I think it's my error, not yours. So
Okay.
no apology required, all right? Could I just ask, just for a brief moment, that last document that we were looking at just be put up again, please? So that's UCPI 35081. No, forgive me. It is UCPI 28580. 28580.
I've got it there.
Mr. Burke-Monerville, before the break, I was asking you about this document and how it made you feel to see that part of the intelligence touched on the acquittal or publicity surrounding the acquittal of your son, Trevor. The officer to whom this document is attributed, Bob Lambert, is due to give evidence later this year. Is something that you want to find out from Bob Lambert is why this material, this information in relation to Trevor was included in this report? Is that something you'd want to know from that witness?
Of course, it is something I would like to hear him repeat.
Can we please go to 23772, please? UCPI 23772. It's at B3 of the hard copy bundle. Now, Mr. Burke-Monerville, this is an intelligence report dated the 13th of December 1988. It's attributed to an officer known to the Inquirer as HN25, cover name Kevin Douglas, who was deployed into the Broadwater Farm Defence Campaign and the troops out movement in Haringey between 1987 and 1991. And this report concerns the Broadwater Farm Defence Campaign and a picket that was held at Worman Scrubs Prison in support of the three men who had been convicted of murdering Police Constable Keith Blakelock. So it's not a report about activity of the Trevor Monerville Defence Campaign. Do you follow?
Yes, sir.
Now, at paragraph 3 of that report, just towards the bottom, we can see that it was reported that at that picket there were chants in support of the Trevor Monerville Defence Campaign as well as other causes. How does it make you feel that an undercover officer felt the need to report on people chanting in support of your campaign at a completely unrelated event?
Well, firstly, it makes me feel very good that my son is being mentioned so that we can have opportunity to ask questions. But secondly, I am not happy if it's going to cause problems for anyone, especially our campaign. But to be fair and honest, I like it.
All right. Can we next look at a document I think we've already looked at, and it's MPS 025928 Web, MPS 025928 Web, which is at D1 of the hard copy bundle. Zero 25928 Web, please. Now, Mr. Burke-Monerville, this is an intelligence report dated the 13th of February 1996. It's attributed by the inquiry to an undercover officer known as HN15, whose real name is Mark Jenner. Cover name was Mark Cassidy. And that officer deployed into various groups, including the College Roach Centre, between 1995 and the year 2000. And this is the report that we looked at before, which relates to a march and rally in memory of Trevor that was due to take place in Stoke Newington around the second anniversary of Trevor's death. And we can see that the intelligence report gives a date and time of the event. It gives reference to the organizer. We can see the nature of the event described as March and Rally in memory of Trevor Monerville. Numbers likely to attend estimated as 50 to 100. Likelihood of disorder is unlikely. And it says event advertised, not yet. And the report reads as follows. This event will mark the death of Trevor Monerville, a black man who died allegedly as a result of his treatment at the hands of Stoke Newington police. It is likely to be a small, low-key affair attended by a few local black family groups supported by union activists and members of the Colin Roach Centre. Attempts will be made to get a high-profile speaker somebody has been mentioned, to address at rally at the Halkavi Centre after the demonstration. And then we see bottom left of the document reference to the Trevor Monerville campaign, and bottom right a registry file number there, 400/87/146. Now, by the time that this commemorative event was being reported, so by 13th of February 1996, can you remember whether the event had been advertised or publicised at all in February?
No, I couldn't be sure about it.
Can't be sure. All right.
But I was told that I knew about that, but I did not know whether it was publicized.
The report itself against the heading event advertised says not yet. So taking that at face value, it would look like this intelligence was being provided before any public advertising or promotion of this event. Do you follow what I'm saying?
Of course, sir.
How does it make you feel that information about this event was being reported on before it was publicly known that it was going to take place?
Well, to be fair and honest, it disturbed me because I was told that there was no such thing happening, and there it is, that it was happening. May I ask something? I am not sure about this privacy number at the bottom.
I see. On occasion, the inquiry has to redact documents to protect other people's privacy, and that's the reason for that redaction. All right?
Okay. So how do I get to know what does it mean?
That's something I'll speak to your legal representatives about in
Thank
due
you.
course. All right?
Yeah.
All right. The report says that Trevor died allegedly as a result of his treatment at the hands of Stoke Newington police. That's not right, is it?
It is quite right, sir.
Say that again.
It is quite right. That is my belief. And I can't see any other way but that. If they didn't do it themselves, there was something leading up to it concerning themselves.
All right. Maybe we're at cross purposes, Mr. Burke-Monerville, all right? But I'm not talking about Trevor's injuries that resulted in him having to have brain surgery in hospital. Talking about his killing, all right? Because this document says Trevor died allegedly as a result of his treatment at the hands of Stoke Newington police. That's not accurate, is it?
I will not say it's accurate, but in my mind, they had something not quite right to do with it. If you do not understand what I mean, I will say that as a father, as a member of my own family and what we discussed,
Yes.
we believe that everyone concerning what happened to Trevor was worried that eventually he will find his way to remember. I do apologize for having this in mind, but that is one of the theories that we believe.
How do you feel that an undercover police officer was reporting on a memorial march for Trevor?
Not happy about it, but do not feel good about it. But I believe he had his reasons for being there.
This report was made 2 years after Trevor had passed away, and 9 years after he was seriously injured. Is there any reason that you can think of for the police to have remained interested in matters relating to Trevor after that time had passed?
It surprised me as much as it does you. Because what business did they have with us after Trevor was gone? You know, it is very surprising that police still had an interest in the family. And I am not happy about it. I would like to ask them why. I do not feel good about that at all.
We can see that a special branch registry file number is recorded against the campaign. What was your reaction to discovering that the campaign had been assigned a special branch file?
Very surprised.
What,
Reasons, no one knows, only them.
see, why did that surprise you?
Because we gave them no reason for such an action. Shall I go on?
Please.
Because after Trevor's death, we went back into our cocoon and did not have anything to do with the police anymore. So it's surprising.
Now, you explain in your witness statement that, and I'm at paragraphs 2.10 to 2.11, pages 27 to 28, that independently you discovered that Mark Jenner, the officer to whom this report is attributed, had infiltrated a meeting held by the family on the first anniversary of Trevor's death, the 18th of March 1995. Do you remember saying that in your witness statement?
very, very, very surprised. He was at the memorial, I was told. I even believe in my mind that someone did introduce me to a young man, but I did not know what he was or what business that he had with us. But I was told sometime later that he wanted to help, but I am not sure. I have made that mistake before, taking one person for another.
I see. You also go on to explain that at an inquiry, an early inquiry hearing held at the Royal Courts of Justice, you had a conversation with a former undercover officer called Peter Francis. Do you remember mentioning that in your witness statement?
This gentleman I know very well.
And
After everything that had happened, I got to know him, yes.
And you tell us that Mr. Francis told you that he and Mr. Jenner were on the campaign before Mr. Francis says he was sent over to the Stephen Lawrence campaign. Do you remember saying that?
That was mentioned to me, but when he was asked about it, he put it quite differently from what he told me. I am not saying, maybe I was too eager to learn or to hear what he was saying. Could have been my mistake, but that was when I got to know Mr. Peter Francis, yes. I think that was at the Royal Court of Justice.
Thank you. Another document, please, Mr. Burke-Monerville. This time it's MPS 0735454 web. So 0735454 web, which is at C2 of the hard copy bundle. And if we could go immediately to, well, actually, let's stick with where we are. The page we're looking at is headed Notes from Meeting with Former Detective Inspector Andy Coles at home address 2nd of May 2013. So just to put these in context for you, Mr. Burke-Monerville, these are the notes from a meeting that other police officers had with a former undercover officer known to the inquiry as HN2, whose real name is Andrew Coles, cover name Andy Davey, who deployed into various groups, principally animal rights groups, between 1991 and 1995. And those officers that met with Mr. Coles were part of Operation Hearn, which was the police investigation into the SDS. And I just want to look at something that's said on page 6 of this document. We can see just at the top of the document there, just below the black box, a comment that was recorded there was, "I know about Trevor Monerville." Do you see that?
Yes, I can see it, sir.
How did it make you feel to see that comment?
Not happy.
Did it raise questions in your mind?
It did, because all these people know about Trevor Monerville, but no one is telling the truth about what they know. He said he knows about Trevor Monerville. What does he know about Trevor Monerville? He should have the decency of letting me know what he knows about my son. He must know, as a father, that I would love to hear what he knows about my son.
Mr. Coles is due to give evidence later this year.
I would like to be there to ask him, please let me know what he knows, because I am in the dark.
I'd like to look at a couple of more documents now, stepping away from intelligence reporting and going back to some documents that you've provided us with. And the first, please, is UCPI 37098. UCPI 37098. And it's at A4 of the hard copy bundle. I'm not going to go into any detail in relation to this, but I think it's right that on the 26th of August 2014, we can see that you're written to by the Chief Constable of Derbyshire Police, Mick Creedon, who headed Operation Hearn. And that letter informed that information had been revealed that needed to be discussed with you and your family. And as a result of that contact, did you meet with Operation Hearn officers?
I did, yes. Not on my own.
All right.
I believe I met with him. I am not sure. The name I've heard several times. And I met with someone, two people, as a matter of fact, in the office of my representative. And that was the first time that I believe, if it's the right person, that I knew I was spied on.
All right. Now, I'm going to just touch on that a little later on, but before I do that, I just want to look at one other document that you've provided, which is UCPI 37097, UCPI 37097, which is at A5 of the hard copy bundle. And this is a letter written to your family by Assistant Commissioner Helen King. And I just want to look at, well, the letter made reference to material identified by Operation Hearn that referred to the Burke-Monerville defence campaign, held within a document and generated and retained by the Metropolitan Police. And I just want to have a look at some of what's said in the letter. Just starting with the second paragraph, it reads, having reviewed this document, it's clear that the mention of your campaign does not assist us in detecting crime or preventing disorder and should not therefore have been kept. The fact that this record was stored for so long without review was a breach of nationally agreed policy and was entirely wrong. The Metropolitan Police Service fully accept that a significant amount of information was incorrectly gathered, recorded and retained as a direct result of the way in which the Special Demonstration Squad operated. I'm very sorry that we fell so far short of our responsibility to properly handle information. I'm aware that the public expects the highest standards of professionalism from the Metropolitan Police Service, and on this occasion, we have not met those standards. I'm also very sorry for the distress that this may have caused to you and those who supported your campaign for justice. Did you consider this apology to be sufficient?
Meant nothing much to us because he did not give a reason why he was still of an interest to us after all this time, and why we were still of an interest to him after that period of time. More explanation from this letter would have told us more. Apologizing should not satisfy us. We would like to know more, the reasons for telling us or writing to us such a letter.
Thank you. Now, I think it's right, and you explain in your witness statement that on the 8th of June of 2016, you, in fact, had a meeting with officers from Operation Hearn. and you deal with this, if it assists you, at paragraph 3.4 on page 30 of your witness statement. And at that meeting, can you remember whether you were told anything about how many documents that had been found that referred to the Trevor Monerville defence campaign?
Maybe it was my mistake. But if I am right, I was told only one.
One. I'm just going to bring up a document, and it's UCPI 37100, UCPI 37100, which is at A6 of the hard copy bundle. And there's a document here headed Summarised Version, SDS Intelligence Reports, Trevor Monerville. And then if we go on to the second page, it says Annual Report 1987. No downward dissemination of this intelligence without reference to Commander Operations Special Branch. Information dated 1987. And then it says this: the following organisations were directly penetrated or closely monitored during the year under review. And then it gives the group Trevor Monerville Defence Campaign. Do you recognise that document?
There again, all these documents, I am not directly sure about which is which.
All right.
Because when I was first notified of what was happening by the people who spied on us, the first sight I had of this letter, the very first person I mentioned it to was my representative.
Yes.
And the first meeting I had with them, they were wrong. If I have made a mistake with the date and the time and the letters, I apologize, but these things are what I did see, but not sure in what sequence they go.
All right. You told us earlier that initially you were told there was only
That's one.
one, just
Yeah.
one. Is that what you were shown when you were told that there was just one document referencing the campaign?
Yeah, which answered, we were told it was just a few words,
Yeah.
maybe 2 or 3 lines,
All right.
and nothing else. And then all these other ones are very surprising.
All right. Just pause a moment, please. Now, I'm just going to take you to another document, Mr. Burke-Monerville, and we can see, we're going to have a look at the original document from where that information was extracted, all right? So it's
Okay.
MPS 0728976. MPS 0728976. Now, this is the Special Demonstration Squad annual report for 1987. And if we could go to page 10, please. We can see at the top, under the heading Coverage, it says, we can see some of the wording that was disclosed to you. The following organisations were directly penetrated or closely monitored during the year under review, and a list of groups, some apparent, some redacted. And if we go on to page 11, under the heading Others, we can see reference to the Trevor Monerville Defence Campaign. Do you see that?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I'm looking.
Just last bit of text at the bottom of the page. Thank you.
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
I have.
Now, you were told that the police located one document at that stage. What did they say about anything else at that stage?
I do not remember. You will have to ask, because I have never engaged with police.
All right.
unless I have someone representing me at the time.
Can I take you to your witness statement, Mr. Burke-Monerville, at page 31, paragraph 3.6? Now, you say here, I was informed that Operation Hearn could not find any of that intelligence, and it was most likely it was destroyed, that such documents often get destroyed, and this document probably should have been destroyed too. I was informed that it was unlikely the campaign was directly penetrated or closely monitored, and that the SDS officers wanted to sound more important than they were to justify their work. At this meeting, I was told there was no infiltration of my family, but we were just part of wider group of justice groups. Do you see that?
I do, Claire.
Does that refresh your memory as to what you were told about the existence of documents relating to Trevor at the time?
Yes. I was surprised that all these things came forward afterwards. As I will repeat again, we were told there was only just maybe 3 or 4 lines about what took place.
Yep. How do you feel about the fact that the Trevor Monerville defence campaign was reported on by undercover police?
I do not feel happy about it, and I would like to have an opportunity to ask them why. We never caused them any bother. We were only asking what happened to a member of our family. We were dissatisfied with what they say and what happened to him. So we asked questions just to try and get answers.
Just want to look at paragraph 3.8 of your witness statement, page 31. And is it right that when you made your statement, you said that this discovery had a significant traumatic impact on you, and that you felt that you'd been deliberately targeted, or the family had been deliberately targeted, for seeking answers and justice in respect of police violence, racism and corruption? Is that right?
Yes.
And do you maintain that feeling, Mr. Burke-Monerville?
It is possibly that things have materialized or changed in any way, but I still do believe that from what has happened to us as a family, that it all has to do with the last word that you used. Racism.
Why do you think the police were interested in the campaign?
These are some very awkward questions to answer, say, if I have to tell the truth, because of the color of our skin.
How do you feel about information in relation to the campaign being recorded, retained and shared by Special Branch?
I truly believe they had no reason for doing this to a family that tried their best to live within the law.
As a result of these experiences, how do you feel about the police?
I do not have any misfeelings about police. I believe in law and order. When I was a young man, when I first arrived in this country, my initial thoughts was to join the police force and become something in it, and then rush back to St. Lucia and become a big boy. But at that time, I was told I was too short. And when I was told that they are recruiting at my height, I already had 2 boys, so I had to work very hard to maintain them. I couldn't live on the police cadet wages at that time. It wasn't very much then. Although I do regret it, but I had 2 sons to take care of. I have no ill feelings about the police, but I do not enjoy what they practice.
Just want to ask you briefly now, Mr. Burke-Monerville, about some events that happened a little later in your life, all right? And I think it's right that about 6 months before Trevor died, your twins, Joseph and Jonathan, were born to you and your partner, Linda. Is that correct?
Yes, lovely girl.
I think it's right that there came a time when the twins were moved to Nigeria for their education. Is that right?
Well, to further their education, they were at school, and one day they came home complaining about they had a fight at school,
See.
and a young man, classmate who they believe was a friend, offered them a knife to fight the other boys that they were fighting with. And we concluded then that the very best thing to do to avoid all this after what had happened to us with Trevor was to send them away, where they will have peace of mind and their education will further.
I think it's right the twins returned to London just before they turned 19 years old. Is that correct?
That's true. We always promised them that we would invite them back for the Olympics. And we did. My wife went back and bring them home.
Yeah.
Or was it, no, I believe they traveled on their own.
All right.
Yeah, she went and bring them home.
Now on the
And they were very happy. Strange thing happened at the airport. When I was late getting there, when I got there, they were looking so well that a lady asked me, are they a pop juror? And I said, no, they're just my sons returning from school. Never knew that I would have to suffer those words later.
On the 16th of February of 2013, Joseph and Jonathan were with their brother, your son, David, at a gym in Hackney. That's right, isn't it?
Yes.
And they were approached by 2 men and shot at
Yes.
in a case of what the police later concluded to be one of mistaken identity. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And all 3 of your boys were injured.
Yes.
Joseph fatally so. Is that right?
Yeah, he was shot in the head and died.
Once again, you and your family found yourselves involved in another police investigation. Just pause.
Just a minute, please.
Yes,
sir.
of course.
And, please, please. It's got to be answered. It's got to be asked. Please. Come on.
Yes. Yeah.
Go with her. Go with her. Sorry about that.
Not at all.
Mr. Burke-Monerville, would you like to pause now and go out to your wife?
I would really enjoy it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Then take as long as you need.
Thank you.
Mr. Burke-Monerville, I'm sorry to touch on subject matter that's difficult, all right, but I won't be much longer with you, and certainly you'll finish with me pretty soon, I hope, okay?
Well, I would like you to drill me as much as you can, sir.
Right. Now, before the break, I was asking you about your twins,
Yes.
and I think you found yourself once again involved in another police investigation, this time in relation to the killing of Joseph. Is that right?
Yes, I did, sir.
And I think you explain in your witness statement that at paragraph 4.4, page 36, that during the investigation into Joseph's death, a liaison officer mentioned Trevor to you. Do you remember that happening?
Yes, he did. I remember that.
I think you told us that, that the liaison officer said to you that Trevor was a strong boy, said to you that it took 6 officers to restrain him, and asked for a family tree. Do you remember giving that account in your witness statement?
That is quite true, sir.
Can you remember how you reacted to being to these comments?
I was not happy about it. I did not say no to him when he said that, but I knew in my mind that I had no intention of supplying him with anything to do with my family, because I recalled that whatever I said to him would go very far. But I showed no action about being annoyed with him. But I was very annoyed.
Now, you explain in your witness statement how 3 men were tried in connection with Joseph's killing, but that the prosecution didn't proceed.
There is another period of anger. We were told absolutely everything was in our favor of those 3 getting some type of call to do with being punished for what happened to Joseph. And a couple of days or 2 or 3 days or 4 days before the trial commenced, we were told that there is no evidence to carry on, and everything was at a standstill.
Your son David, who was with the twins at the time of the shooting, was himself sadly murdered in a violent robbery in June 2019. Is that right?
Yes. After moving away, I am still in Hackney, but I send my family all the way to another address, at least 10, 12 miles away. So, lo and behold, it came back to haunt us again.
It's right that those involved in his killing were ultimately convicted. Is that correct?
Yes. Those policemen in that particular area put a smile on my face. And I was quite pleased with them. But the other 2, I'm still not happy about what went on.
Mr. Burke-Monerville, you've had experiences of engaging with the Metropolitan Police in tragic circumstances involving 3 of your children.
Yep.
And since then you've learnt that an undercover unit reported on the campaign that you and your family set up to seek justice for Trevor?
Well,
If I could just ask the question, has learning that undercover officers reported on that campaign, has that affected your relationship with the police and the relationship of your family with the police?
well, it did not fall well with me, especially the treatment that was given to my mother during Trevor and father and the rest of the family. What police tried to do at the time, instead of finding the people that commit the crime, the way they've treated us since then, and the things that have happened to us, and no one has ever been brought to book. I am not happy with the other two cases, Trevor and Joseph. Trevor, Joseph, David, I am glad that they found a way to prosecute the people that caused his death. But Trevor and Joseph, you see, in my mind, David had a pretty good life before such a thing happened to him. But the other two was taken too early, 19, both of them. Never had any time to have a proper pint or a proper drink with my children. And what they wanted to achieve was great things that would make me proud. And the saddest part of it is what it has left on the other twin. At this present moment, we are not enjoying his company at all because he is disturbed what happened to his brothers. And it's not him alone. There are about 5 members of the family that is feeling it very deep.
Mr. Burke-Monerville, that's all I have to ask for you at this stage. There may be a few more questions a little later, all right?
Thank you so much, sir. But I don't think you have gone far enough with me because there are many things in my heart I would like to get off my chest.
All right.
But I thank you, and I'm very grateful to you, sir.
Mr. Burke-Monerville, would you bear with us for another quarter of an hour, please? The routine is that if there are any questions that anybody wishes counsel to the inquiry to ask, or if your counsel wishes to ask you questions in re-examination, they have 15 minutes in which to consider that, and you may then be asked further questions. But I think your evidence is almost quite at an end.
I thank you so much, sir. I'm quite prepared to be grilled again.
Thank you.
Thank you so, so much. And I thank everybody for coming and sitting patiently to listen to me. Thank you all. On behalf of myself, my wife, and my family, thank you.
Mr. Warrington, I take it there are no questions from anyone other than... sorry, there are no questions other than those to be asked in re-examination.
So, yes.
Thank you. Yes, Mr.
Mr. Burke-Monerville, I have a couple of further questions for you. Can I ask that Mr. Burke-Monerville's witness statement is brought up on the screen, and in particular paragraph 4.8 of that statement, which is at page 37. Mr. Burke-Monerville, I'm going to read out that passage. In that statement, at that paragraph, you have said, "I believe there has been a lack of care and implicit racism when it has come to the investigation of Trevor's and Joseph's murders. I believe those investigation failures may be connected with the history of police corruption and racism in Hackney, and our allegations that a police assault in Stoke Newington Police Station in 1987 caused Trevor's brain damage." Does that remain your position today?
Well, I have repeated saying that. Maybe I should put it in a different way. What happened to Trevor and the explanation that we have heard and the lies that we have been told have not satisfied this particular family. At the end of everything that has been said, I truly believe racism by the police force and those in authority that control the police are to blame for Trevor and Joseph, especially Trevor. They are to blame for not investigating properly. Reasons for that I do not fully understand, but I am quite aware that police is responsible for the beginning of Trevor's trouble, and it leads up to his death. So I am not satisfied. Another thing is, I believe if Trevor was in his right mind and not having to have such an operation, he would have survived until today. Because after the initial injury of Trevor, he was getting himself together. He had children then, and he had a future. So whatever it is, unless someone is persecuted or brought to book for Trevor and Joseph, we as a family will never be happy. We are aware of what we want, but then again, because of the situation of what is practiced, we do not believe that we will ever get satisfaction. But we are still hoping for a surprise.
Thank you. And can I then ask you finally to look at paragraph 3.9 of your witness statement, which is at page 32, which links to what you...
3.9.
Yes, 3.9. And I'm going to read that out. The behaviour of the police towards Trevor, me and my family, since he sustained his life-changing injuries. The failure to look for him when I reported him missing. To tell me he was at the police station, or to investigate what happened to him, the harassment of Trevor and my family afterwards, the spying on my campaign, the exposure of racism in the Metropolitan Police Service then and since, it all supports our view that Trevor was assaulted by the police and that we were spied on because of our campaign to expose that. Mr. Burke-Monerville, is that your view now too?
It is my view now, and my reason for it has a lot to do with what is written there. And I feel this way, and will always feel this way. For myself, my family, Trevor's family, my next generation, that unless something concrete happens, that I will always have the view that it's got to do with racism. And that's my conclusion of the matter. I thank you so much for asking me such a very, very foul questions. And I hope I have given a foul answer to how I'm feeling and my whole family is feeling about the matter. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I don't have anything more.
Very much welcome. Thank you very much, sir.
Mr. and Mrs. Burke-Monerville, may I thank you sincerely for performing the very difficult task of giving evidence about matters that no family should ever suffer in peacetime. Everybody who has listened to your evidence, I speak, I'm sure, for everybody, has been deeply impressed by the calmness and dignity with which you have given it. Thank you for performing a serious and valuable public service.
Thank you ever so much, sir.
May I take this opportunity also to thank everybody in this hearing room for listening to very troubling evidence in the course of today, calmly, without causing any disturbance. You have been a model, if I may say so, of what an inquiry hearing audience should be. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Once again, I thank everyone for having me.
So now raise one matter after the witness.
Yes.
Mr. Burke-Monerville doesn't need to be here.
Of course, Mr. and Mrs. Burke-Monerville, you're perfectly free to leave. If you would not mind remaining
I
behind.
do not want to leave, sir.
If you would mind remaining behind for a very short time, I would like to say a private personal thanks to you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Can I just state for the record that the witness statement of Faith Mason, dated the 15th of July of this year, who is the mother of the deceased child whose identity was used in part by HN122, from whom the inquiry heard yesterday, has now been published.
Yes.
Thank you.